What's up, Haunters, and welcome to my 2025 Halloween Animatronic Collection Tour. Today we have 37 different animatronics to check out, so let's, of course, get started. So of course, it is finally that time of year again to check out my entire Halloween animatronic collection up until now. Of course, this is my 11th year collecting. I got my first animatronic back in 2015, and now in 2025, I've got 37 different animatronics, which of course are all set up right here around me. So overall, it should be an awesome video and maybe quite a long one because for each animatronic, I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about it and then of course show you exactly what it does. But anyways, that's enough talking there for the intro. Let's of course get into the first round of animatronics, which is of course going to be the Carnival. So yes, everyone, right here is the first theme we're going to be checking out, which is of course the Carnival. I have 5 different animatronics right here, 4 of course being clowns, 1 of course being a sideshow type of character. So overall, let's get into checking all of these off, starting off on that side with Sword Swallower. And yes, of course, to start it off right here, we've got the Sword Swallower from last year from Morris Costumes, which this guy's an awesome one. Of course, he pretty much is a sword swallower type of guy. He swallows the sword, he moves his arm right there, and overall, he's a pretty cool looking character. And this model, of course, I was able to get it from Halloween Alley, a Halloween store here in Canada. And I was able to get it on clearance for $200, down from $400 on their November 1st sale. And yeah, overall, this guy here is an awesome one, so let's check him out in action. So overall, Sword Swallower, such an awesome one, definitely one of my favorites in the collection. But moving on, next up is Peek-a-Boo Clown, of course, coming from Spirit Halloween from 2020. And this guy's a cool one. He's one of my first clowns ever, and honestly, I love how this guy is. The color scheme's awesome. I love the blue, green, and orange details. He's also got those LCD eyes, which he's the only animatronic I have with LCD eyes, and I really love those, and I would like to see them used on even more animatronics in the future. I know they use them on some, but it would be cool to see more using them. And overall, he's got some cool animations. He opens up his arms, leans back, so it looks like he's playing peekaboo with you and everything. So overall, an awesome clown, and let's check him out in action.
Where'd everyone go? I can't see, because I had my eyes closed. Blah! But I'll keep them open to see where you run away to. You can run, but you can't hide.
So honestly, for Peekaboo here, the eyes definitely still my favorite thing about him, and that's really why I bought him. But of course, moving on, next up here is Hugz The Clown. This guy's an awesome one, come from Spirit Halloween from 2018. And this guy I know among Spirit Halloween fans is a fan favorite, of course. This is one that I hear lots of people often say they wish they got him and they really want to bring him back. And honestly, I agree, he's a great one. I like the colors on him. The purple and white looks really nice. The black details and then like all the blood splattered all over him. It's awesome. It's cool with the free hug sign. I love that. His animation's cool. He sort of lunges towards you. It's kind of like a jump scare. And the face, really the most iconic thing about this guy. They really got like nicely detailed everything. I love that. Teeth right there. It's yellow, which is cool. Green eyes, purple hair. Overall, an awesome animatronic. Glad to have him. And now let's of course see what he does.
Hey there, friend. Welcome to the fun house. Come a little closer. We've got fun and games and I'll get you next time.
And as you can see, unfortunately, his mouth is broken. Maybe I can fix it, but he's still a great one. But moving on, next up here is a brand new one for 2025. This right here is, of course, Two-Face Teddy. He's one coming from Spirit Halloween, and honestly, he's one of the most hated animatronics this year, but I am a pretty big fan of him. I like a bunch of things. The head, I don't mind that they reused it from Poor George. Poor George had a great head mold, and, you know, it looks creepy and kind of saved the money on instead of having to do a new design. Yeah, the clothing, I like that orange and black color scheme. Really just classic Halloween, and I don't think we've actually seen a clown with that color scheme before. Yeah, the head animation where it spins around is awesome too. So anyways, a great guy. Now let's see what he does. And carrying on, the last one we have for the Carnival Collection here is, of course, Henry Hustle right here, which this guy is such an awesome one. Honestly, out of all the clowns I have right here, Henry Hustle may just be my favorite. The things I like most about is, of course, that animation where the head pops out to reveal another creepy head. He was the first animatronic to really do that. And he was such a cool one that a bunch of companies decided to rip it off, so you can tell this guy was definitely a cool design. That face right there looks awesome, like a little smirk, and the creepy face underneath is creepy too. His clothing, I like how they went full out with the card theme, that is awesome. The Joker cards there in his hand, which is awesome. The animation too, where he moves the hand out of the way, is cool too. So overall, a great animatronic. I love the colors on everything, and yeah, let's, of course, check him out in action.
Time for a trick. Remember this card. It'll be the last thing you'll ever see.
Overall, just such cool, and I love this guy. Alright, so that right there was, of course, the Carnival Collection. 5 awesome animatronics. And now let's move on to the next bit of animatronics, which, of course, the Pumpkin Patch / farm. Alright, and for the farm collection right here, we have 10 different animatronics, each of them looking really cool. Of course, a lot of them are pumpkin-themed ones, as you can see, and then there's a few other random ones. So let's, of course, check these out. Starting off on this end with Rusty. Which Rusty right here, I will say, he's the only animatronic I have that I've actually sort of customized. And the one reason why I did that was, of course, this guy, he did break a couple years ago, so I thought, since he's already broken, you know, he'd be a cool one to try and customize, so even if he does get ruined, you know he's already broken. But yeah, overall, I like the customization I did on him. Of course, you can see the chainsaw, I give it that nice paint, it has the rust details on there. Of course, I painted his hands, which you can see the ones falling out. Of course, head I redid it, I gave it light up eyes in there, and then I glued on some of these cool, like, details. And of course, down there you can see I also gave the bowl some rust, which he's called Rusty, but I never actually had any rust on him, which is surprising. But overall, the original model of this, what it's supposed to do is the head shook, and then it just spun the chainsaw up. Which unfortunately, this guy, broken, doesn't do that anymore, but still, the customization does look cool. Not gonna be able to do it today, but still, I love how he turned out. Alright, but next I'm moving on to some stuff that does still work. Let's start off on the bottom with the pumpkin. Which this pumpkin, of course, comes from Costco from 2017, I believe. And overall, it's pretty simple for what it is, but I do still like it. It's just a big pumpkin, as you can see. It's got like the orange details on there. It's got a little markings, a little stem coming out, and it's just an evil face. But still really cool. I don't have batteries in it yet. I need to buy some new ones for it. But of course, there's lights inside them that sort of flicker on and off when you have them turned on. And there's, of course, a lights only mode or a sound only mode. Which lights only, of course, just the lights. But in sound, he has this really cool soundtrack he plays. We're going to hear like creepy pumpkin laughing noises. So overall, a pretty cool prop. Also put on my little pumpkin stash. Looks pretty cool. So overall, he's a nice one. Just smaller one, but still cool to see. Alright, next up, moving on to somewhat more animatronics. Of course, right here we got the Pumpkin Twins, which these two, of course, come from Home Depot, Canada from 2021. They're, of course, Canada exclusive, which always cool to see some exclusive animatronics, which these two are both really cool. There's a bunch of variants out there of the twin type animatronics, and these ones are definitely one of my favorites out there. Of course, I like how they both look. You know, the head's right there. I like how it's sort of like pumpkin head, but they still like made it squished, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, the clothing looks nice, just that older farm look. Unfortunately, mine right here, they are broken. They still do work, but the heads will fall off, which I guess we'll see in the demo if they do decide to fall off today, but these two right here look really awesome. So yeah, let's check them out in action.
Summer's gone, and I'm here. When fall, don't shed a tear. I might be ugly, but have no fear. Halloween, creepy closer, don't give a cheer.
So sad that the heads are a little bit broken on these. Fortunately, they didn't fall off today, but I can definitely tell they're cheaper quality. But still, I really love these two. Their lines are so good. And next up, this is my newest animatronic, of course, the Spirit Halloween 2025 Lantern Keeper, which this guy, let me tell you, he is an awesome one. Of course, this guy's some of my favorite things about him. Of course, just the molds on this guy. The head right there looks insane. I love that pumpkin-y face they gave him. It looks really nice. The massive hands right there look awesome. The lantern's cool too. I like how he has the light up chest in there, which when you have this guy in the on mode, of course, that constantly stays lit, which is really cool. And yeah, overall, he's just such a nice looking one. I like the cooling controls for and everything. It looks really awesome. They did a great job. So overall, definitely an animatronic I'd recommend to get from Spirit this year. So anyways, there he is. And now let's check out a demo of him.
If you make even the tiniest sound, the shadows will find you.
So honestly, this guy may be Spirit's best of the year. And moving on to our next animatronic, this guy right here is Lil Jack Carver. Lil Jack Carver, of course, comes from Spirit Halloween from 2023, and honestly is a very forgettable one from that year. One that, of course, wasn't a display and wasn't too popular one, but honestly is one that I do really love. I like the jump scare with him, of course. He pops the pumpkin head off to reveal his creepy little zombie face underneath, which is really cool. Cool and has that nice farmy look, which I do like. And then, yeah, I like the constant lit feature in there, and then, of course, the audio and everything sounds really good too. So overall, a really cool animatronic, honestly one of the best from that year, and yeah, let's of course see him in action. Moving on, the next animatronic we have right here is, of course, the Forgotten Farmer. Which this guy, unfortunately, he's one of my most broken animatronics, of course. Nothing on works anymore, none of the audio, animation, or any of that. Of course, as you can see, he's falling apart here and everything, which does suck to see. But overall, I do still really love the look of him. He's a really cool one, of course. The head right there, I like the look of that. It's awesome. Of course, the pitchfork's really cool. It's going through his head. He's got the, like, farmer hat on there and everything, and yeah, just really cool. And yeah, it's got the rest of the pitchfork coming down here, which unfortunately mine's broken, but I do like the wooden detail they did give on there. It's awesome. I like how it either comes with the base form or, of course, the little stakes. You can stake him into the ground. So overall, a cool one, but yeah, unfortunately can't do a demo of him. He was a store display model too, but yeah, overall, doesn't really work, but still, he's a really cool one, and going to be cool to have in the haunt this year once again. And of course, moving down here, we got our next two animatronics, which is of course the Fiddler Skeletons, which these two right here are really awesome. They of course come from Costco from 2023, and yeah, they both look really awesome. Of course, these two I was able to find a liquidation store in my city called Save a Ton, which I was able to get them for about $75, which isn't too bad considering they originally retailed for around $150. But yeah, these two look awesome. Of course, they play the little fiddlers right there. They sort of talk in between each other, and overall, some great audio, tons of animation, and overall, a solid animatronic. Fortunately, with these ones, it was one of their eyeballs is broken, but other than that, they both work perfectly fine. And yeah, they're just such cool ones. Another cool detail too is, of course, it's a full skeleton like under the colon right here. Has the rib cage and everything in there, which they didn't need to add, but it is cool that they did. So overall, two really cool guys, and let's of course see them in action. And carrying on, the last one we have here in the farm collection is, of course, Twisted Jack. Which Twisted Jack here, of course, comes from Party City from 2020, and overall he's a nice one. He, of course, is just a static, but I do like a few things about him. Coolest thing is that flame effect there in the head, which, of course, the eyes and then mouth has it in there, and overall looks awesome. And then, yeah, the look of him is really awesome, like that creepy cloth, little ribcage detail, the head and everything looks awesome. Overall, a really cool looking one. And I'm not going to be doing a demo of him just because I don't really have any batteries or anything in him right now, but Pretty much he just makes some noise and then face that lights up. But yeah, overall, a really cool prop. Happy I was able to get him. I was able to get him on sale too for only 45 bucks, which is awesome. But yeah, overall, Twisted Jack, a really cool one. And that, of course, concludes it for the pumpkin patch / farm collection right here. And as of now, we are nearing the middle of the collection tour. Of course, we've seen 15 different animatronics right now, meaning we've only got 22 to go, so also halfway point. So anyways, let's, of course, move on to the next collection, which is the one over here. Which, honestly, for this one, I'm just going to call it, like, the Haunted Home Collection. I don't know, just a bunch of spooky characters right here, which there's a bunch of them, so let's check them out. Which, of course, for this collection, I'm including all the animatronics you see all around here, which none of them fit into their own little mini themes, but anyways, we're going to be checking all these out. So on this side, of course, with Forgotten Toys. And yes, here, of course, are the Forgotten Toys, which honestly, a very forgettable animatronic that I don't see people talk about too much, but this is a really cool one. Of course, I can see it's a toy box. It's got 3 spooky characters in there, and for its animation, it rises up out of there. Wouldn't be cool to see a jump scare, but it would have been hard with like the lid to actually have it close back down on them. But overall, it is awesome. I like how it's just like a full toy box and everything. You know, it's like a prop and the animatronics inside, which is really cool. And I like all the lights in it, of course. If you open it up, you can see some along there. There's also some along the little ridge right there, which of course light up red and blue, which is overall really cool. Then yeah, all the characters in there look really awesome. This one, of course, comes from Party City from 2019. Overall one that a lot of people forget about, but it's of course one that has had quite a few reskins of it for Christmas and Halloween, but overall a really cool one. And now let's check out its animation.
Would you like to come along with us? Just crawl inside quick. They won't get you if you hide here.
So overall, some great audio and everything on it too. It's just a solid animatronic. And moving on, next up here is a big animatronic. Of course, this is Darling Dolly. Which Darling Dolly right here comes in at a total of around 7 feet tall up there. She is a massive one. And honestly, one of my favorite animatronics I have. I love just everything about her. She definitely gives me vibes to the creepy Rising Doll, which is a cool one. I love how she's just, yeah, this big doll character and everything. Looks really cool, like her dress and then these big arms coming out with the posable fingers and everything. It looks really cool. The animation is insane how she like bends down towards you and everything really fast. It's a great jump scare and honestly one of my favorite things about her. So overall, Darling Dolly right here, an awesome one. And yeah, let's of course check out that awesome jump scare animation. So overall, an insane one. And now moving on from her, let's of course check out the creepy Roman bear. Which this guy right here is an awesome one. He of course comes from Spirit Halloween from 2016. And overall, he is a awesome one. He's one that a lot of people, I don't know, are not the biggest fan of from that year, which honestly, I don't get because this guy, I really love him. His one audio line he has is really awesome. Then the look of him is great. I like that creepy face right there. You see he's got the button eyes, creepy mouth right there. Then the clothing and everything is awesome, like the big bear paws and shoes and everything. Of course, this guy is one animatronic that she dressed up as one year because I loved him so much. He's such a great one and just such a nostalgic one for me. Unfortunately, he doesn't roam around anymore. I don't know what it is. There's something wrong with the wheels. I may be able to fix it, but anyways, he's a great one. And let's, of course, here's audio, which he won't roam around, but still, it's worth it to hear it.
Why did all the boys and girls run away? Well, I love a good chase. Come here. I'm not gonna hurt you. I just want a hug. Boogie, 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 boogie.
And carrying on, the next animatronic we have right here is, of course, my first one ever. This is, of course, the 2015 Jumpin' Spider, which this guy, of course, comes from Spirit Halloween, and he's a classic one that still to this very day is sold at Spirit. And overall, it's an awesome one. There's so many different variants of it now, but this is, of course, the original variant, the black and white one, which is really awesome. It's basically got the base right there with the spider web over it. There's just this big spider on here with the black and then the white details and the red glowing eyes right there. And of course, the animation is he just jumps up towards you. So cool, so effective, and honestly one of the cheapest jump scares you can find on the market. And yeah, he's just such a cool one. It's cool that they still sell him to this day. You know, it's a great one, and honestly one of the best starter animatronics out there if you're just getting into collecting stuff. So overall, a really cool one, and let's of course check him out in action. And next up here, we got Spirit's best from last year. This one is, of course, Wanda Webworth, which like I mentioned, this one, of course, comes from Spirit Halloween from 2024. And honestly, it's one of their most unique and creepiest characters ever. So, of course, is this giant mutant spider, which I love how it is. It's got those big legs coming out the back right there, which is creepy. Yeah, it's got all the different arms up here with those claws that I love. Of course, there's two at the top right there. Then two on the side, of course, the one on each side, both moves like up and down, which is cool. Then I love that face on there. It is latex, which I didn't really need to with latex. It would nice to see a plastic mold head, but still it looks awesome. Love the eyes on there. The mouth is creepy, of course, moves that when it's animated. You know, like the fuzzy details on here, the whole back and everything. Overall, just such a creepy looking one, and honestly the best spider animatronic ever. So overall, a really cool one, and let's of course see it in action. And moving on, the next one we have right here is a brand new one for 2025, or a return one at least, I guess. But this guy is, of course, the Electrified Corpse. This guy comes from Spirit Halloween for 2025, and there was an original model that was sold back in 2016, but it hasn't been sold for a number of years now. But overall, this guy's an awesome one, honestly one of the best ones this year. I like just sort of the older vibe that this guy has, you know, that's such a creepier head right now, which looks awesome. I like all the details on there, it's insane. The hand details, like the blood detail up there, and then at the top it looks really cool too. Yeah, like all the wires and everything coming on too, and the animation how he shakes around everything is insane. And unfortunately, send this guy up today. Notice that one thing is wrong with him, of course. The wires that come out to go to the lights in the wires right here, which I forget which ones it was, but for some reason that wire like is broken on it. It is really weird that it is broken. I don't know why it is, but hopefully I can contact Zombie Tech Squad and get a replacement piece for that, because it would suck if I can't. But anyways, he's still a really cool one, and let's of course check out his animation, which this guy has an insane one. Alright, so right there was of course Electrified Corpse, which for some reason, yeah, the head's not working out and everything. I don't know, this guy, it just seems like such bad quality. Like, this is my second time this season unboxing him, and just looking at him on all the wires and everything, just so bad in him. Honestly, I may have to return him and just not try and get a new model. I don't know if it would be worth it, maybe, but such bad quality. I don't know, but let's move on to the next one. And carrying on, next up here, we've got another one of my older guys. This guy's, of course, the sit-in Scarecrow. Which this guy right here is, of course, a 2016 model from Spirit Halloween. That was the first year they sold him, and he's another one like the Jumpin' Spider, which is still sold to this day, which is crazy. But overall, he is an awesome one. I really love this guy, of course. He's got the candy bowl right there. He reaching for candy. Of course, his head pops up. Really great jump scare, and yeah, honestly, he's such a cool looking one. Overall, cool one. Let's check him out in action. So overall, a classic and an awesome one. And of course, moving on next up here, in my Hauntress a bit, this guy is, of course, Death Row. This guy's technically my oldest animatronic, but it wasn't my first one. I, of course, found a garage sale a couple years ago. But of course, the original model of him was sold at Spirit Halloween in 2013, so crazy. This guy is like 12, 13 years old now, which is awesome. And yeah, he is a great one. I love just how he is. The head right there looks awesome. He's like just being electrified and everything. I like how it's that solid plastic head. They didn't do latex or anything, which is much appreciated. His colon's awesome. I like all the like blood marks and everything on him. He's also inmate 666. Spooky number right there. Yeah, the hands right there, really cool. They have the lights on them that light up, which is awesome. And yeah, overall, just a cool animatronic. He's an awesome one. And honestly, one that I'm really happy I was able to find garage sale because his animation is really cool, just thrashing around and everything. So yeah, that's enough talk about him. Let's, of course, see him in action. So overall, a cool one. Crazy how he's just so old and still works very well. Unlike this guy, which I've used twice and doesn't work at all anymore. Anyways, moving on right here to the Hauntress. This one is an awesome one, coming from Spirit Halloween from 2020. And overall, this is honestly one of the coolest like budget animatronics ever from Spirit because each year they seem to have a budget one that's around like $100 to $150, and this right here is, of course, one that was coming in around $130. It's an awesome one. I love the face on there. It's, of course, that latex, which I don't know why Crazy Crate does that, but it looks really awesome. Like, just that expression, everything's cool. Those creepy hands right there, and then the cloak going down. And the cool thing about this, of course, the animation, because it sort of pops out sideways, which is really cool, and honestly one of the coolest animations ever. They also did reuse for a Ghostface remake the year after, I think in 2021 or 2022. So overall, a really awesome one. Hopefully they'll bring her back in the future, which there may be a good chance with just how this one is. But anyways, let's see it in action because this one is such a cool and such a good jump scare. And moving on from the Hauntress, our next animatronic right here, and also my favorite one I own, is of course the Skill Crane. Which this one is such an awesome one. Of course, comes from Party City from last year, and honestly, out of any animatronic that's ever been sold in retail, this guy may be the coolest one ever. I, of course, love just how different it is. You know, it's a big claw machine. We never see stuff like this. You know, it's always just big monsters and characters, but never a claw machine with something hiding in it, which is really cool. I like how big it is. It's around like 5'8", I think, at the top right here, which is a pretty good height. I like how it has like all the balls in there, which of course covers up the bear, which pops out. Such as a little crane detail up there, which moves around, which is awesome. One thing that would have been cool is if it had the actual little like board right here with the joystick you'd actually move around to move that around up there. That'd be even cooler, but still it is really cool as the interactive feature where you push the button to activate it. So overall, an awesome one. Yeah, let's of course see a demo of him, which just gotta push the button and it'll start.
Attention! Attention! This game is now in operation! Have you got the skill? Or will you be killed? Fear not, he won't bite unless you reach inside for your prize.
Yeah, such a cool one. Best animatronic of all time. This thing is insane. And carrying on from the best animatronic ever, we have what it may be one of the most mid animatronics in my collection. Oh, this one right here is a more simpler one, but still I do really like how it is. Of course, the Pop-Up Girl. This model, of course, comes from Canadian Tire from 2024. And overall, it's a cool one. It's just a simpler one. Of course, the head pops up right there. Of course, you can see the seam like right there on the mouth. And overall, it's a great jump scare. Simple. It's just a creepy cloth clone. It's got these like skeletal hands, you know. Just the most basic prop ever, but still, I was able to get this for $60, which is an amazing deal for what it is. And honestly, it's a good for just a more simpler jump scare. And honestly, it's one that I would recommend. You know, it's still a very good one. And again, if you're starting out, this is a good, more like starter animatronic. It's smaller, cheaper, and overall really good one. So anyways, an awesome one. And yeah, let's of course check this thing out in action because it's honestly pretty cool. So overall, a pretty creepy one and not too bad of an animatronic. And moving on from her, the next one we have down here is a really cool one. This is, of course, Yoda from Home Depot coming from 2023. Which this guy's an awesome animatronic. You can see right there is Yoda's head, which looks awesome. Something just, yeah, straight out of the movie. They did a great job on it. I love all the cerebral features in his head. Like, he can move around a lot. He got the mouth movement, eye movement, like the ear movement. He's got his like eyes that shut there. Overall, tons of motors in this. Yeah, his hands right here on the lightsaber is cool. Those kind of move side to side too. And then of course has that light there in the saber, which is nice. And yeah, his cloak and everything on there looks awesome. And then I like the Halloween details, like the hat right there and the sign. And of course comes with a Christmas sign and a Santa hat for the Christmas version of him. But overall, a really cool one. Definitely one of the most animated props, especially in the face where it looks awesome. So anyways, a really cool one. And yeah, I'll show you one in action because this guy, honestly, one of the coolest ones I have. His animation's great.
Enjoy the festivities, you will. My ally is joy
and a powerful ally it is.
Alright, so there of course he is. His voice lines could have been better if it was more geared towards Halloween and Christmas and had two different sounds, but overall, still sounds very much like Yoda, and yeah, he's a cool one. So overall, that right there is the next section that we just checked out, the haunted house sort of thing. And next up from that section, we're going to be moving on to the next section over here, which is of course the creepy graveyard section. This is the last one we're going to be checking out. So overall, let's get started. Which overall for the graveyard collection right here, tons of awesome characters. Of course, we got quite a few Reapers going on right here. Got some stuff like Ravens, Witches, Zombies, and of course some Skeletal guys, which are more for bars, but still like to include them in here. So overall, a bunch of cool ones, and yeah, this will be what we'll end off the video with, all of these awesome ones right here. Alright, so starting off with this section right here, let's of course check out Cerberus. Which Cerberus here, of course, comes from Spirit Halloween from 2024, and overall, he is an awesome animatronic. He, of course, was originally sold in 2015, and they brought him back for 2019, and then, of course, again for 2025, they brought him back, and overall, there's a bunch of cool things about him. I like the 3 different heads on there, how each of them have movement. That's really cool, and yeah, each of the heads, I love the mold they did on there. It looks awesome. The fur looks cool, the feet look cool. It would have been cool if they, like, actually had, like, a back to him, because, of course, it just ends right there, but for it is, it's really cool, and it hooks up to Fog too, so Fog comes out all through their mouths, which is really awesome. So overall, just such a cool animatronic. I like how they have it on the deal now too, but anyways, a great one. Let's, of course, check him out in action. So overall, such a cool one. It's also back for this year, and honestly, it's one I recommend. He is so cool. But yeah, moving on, next up here, we've got Jack of Spades, one of the coolest ones ever from Home Depot, I would say, and another one of my favorites in my collection. I really love this guy. Of course, a few things I love about him is just the look of it. It's really cool. It's got that like older style look, which is really cool. And I like how you can either have him sit in or stand too. Of course, right here is in the stand position where he's around 6.5 feet tall at the top right there. But you can have him sitting down chair too, which is cool. Like the arm right here, he's got the drink right there into the cigar, and he actually lifts it up to his mouth. Like how his animation, which we'll see in a second, he actually turns his face towards the cup to drink it, which is cool that they programmed it in like that too. You know, the cards right there look awesome, and overall it's a really good quality one. I like how they gave him that gold look right there. It's really nice. So overall, a great animatronic, one of the best ones ever from Home Depot, and yeah, let's check out this guy because he's got some great audio too, which you'll hear, and then you'll see that awesome animation too with the dream glass there.
Welcome to my game, mortal. I'm the dealer who always knows when to hold 'em and when to hold 'em. My bony fingers have dealt with the best and the worst. So you think you've got what it takes to outsmart me? Then take a seat, and let's see what you're made of.
So honestly, a really cool one. And move on to the next one here, which pairs along so nicely with them. This guy is, of course, Dean the Deathologist. Which Dean right here is such an awesome one. A few things that I do really like about him is, of course, you had a look again with him. It's that older style look, which looks really awesome. I love the head mold they gave him. The hair looks awesome. It's a little bit similar to the style of my hair, so that's kind of nice. Got a little mustache on there. I like the skeleton head and everything. But like this little pouring feature of the drink, which it is supposed to have lights in here, which go down, which unfortunately mine doesn't work, but still, it does look cool having this little pour thing on here. I might have to paint that or something to look good to make it look cooler. Just the look of him is really nice. They did a great job on him, and yeah, honestly, one of my favorites I have here in the haunt. He is a really cool one. So anyways, I love this guy. And let's, of course, check out that awesome animation here, his audio lines, because he's got some good audio too, honestly, I've got to say.
Hello, good evening. What may I get you tonight? I've been told I'm the best bartender from Timbuktu to Corporate. So please, step up to the bar and I'll serve you what is likely to be the best beverage you've ever had. And your last.
So yeah, an awesome one. He was, of course, third display, so unfortunately some stuff doesn't work on him, but still, he is so cool. And moving on, let's move on to another one of my newer ones. This is, of course, the 3-foot witch from Home Depot. This one right here is really cool. It wasn't one that I was originally planning to get, but just after seeing this in store, it's one that I do really love. Of course, one thing I liked about it is, of course, the frog right here, which we'll see in a second, but the animation, he basically pops out there, which is really cool. The witch looks cool, too. You know, it's just a generic design, but, you know, I don't mind it too much with the little frog detail. It's something different. Yeah, the audio on it is alright, nothing too crazy, but for $50 for this thing, like, honestly, can't go wrong. It's solid for just a smaller animatronic. So overall, a cool one, and yeah, let's check out this animation because it is pretty cool.
Come closer, dearie. The cauldron is brewing something wicked tonight.
And now carrying on back to a bigger animatronic. Next up here, we've got Bog Zombie. Which Bog Zombie right here, he is such a creepy one. And he, of course, comes from Spirit back from 2023, I believe. Or no, actually, it was 2022. But yeah, he is a cool looking one. I like that face on there. It looks creepy, like his nose is missing, you know. He's got the moss details on there, which is sick. I like how it has like the stuff hanging off him right here, like just walked out of a swamp. Yeah, his hands look cool. It's got the moss detail on there again, and I like this skin and bones detail. Looks sick. His animation is cool too. He like rotates around a bit, but then the arms right here like free swinging, so they move a bit around when he goes around. Also love the exposed bone down there, and yeah, overall tons of detail on this guy, which I do appreciate. Yeah, he's a great one. I love zombies, and honestly, one of the coolest zombies from Spirit, especially just for just how he looks. They did a great job on design. So overall, cool one. And yeah, let's check out this guy's animation because he's got some nice animation. And carrying on, let's check out another one of my new guys, which is also one of my favorites of all time. Now, this guy is, of course, the Raven from Home Depot. This guy, of course, comes from Home Depot from 2025, and overall, he is such a cool one. He, of course, is pretty much a reskin of the Plague Doctor, except he doesn't have the side-to-side motion. But yeah, very similar. He's, of course, got the staff right there in the one hand, which looks cool, like the little wooden details on there. And then I liked how that lights up, too, there with the skull and everything. It is awesome. Yeah, the Raven up there, the head looks sick. I love how that is. And yeah, that of course turns side to side and his mouth moves and everything. Overall, so awesome. I like the feathery details going over it. There's one of the lantern there on the other hand, which is cool too. I like how it flickers and glows and everything. And even when you have this guy like not being activated, it still stays on, which is really nice. And yeah, his pose he's got on is really nice. The clone looks awesome. Overall, a great animatronic and a massive one too. He's like 6.5 feet there at the top of the head. Overall, he's a great one, and honestly one that I'd recommend this year because he's only $200 from Home Depot here in Canada, which is an amazing price for just how big this guy is and just everything else about him. So overall, he's an awesome one, and let's check out this guy's animation and audio and everything because it is insane. Definitely some of the best I've ever seen.
The winds of fate whisper my name and empower me with the forces of darkness. Within these fields, the echoes of the past linger like ghosts. I command the shadows to dance. Step lightly, for the cold beneath your feet holds secrets untold.
So there he is, an awesome one, and carrying on, we've got another new one. This is, of course, the 2025 Canadian Tire Reaper with guitar, which this guy is cool. Of course, for this guy right here, it was back in 2023, maybe 2022. Of course, Lowe's sold this guy, but now, of course, Lowe's isn't selling him anymore. Now he's a wholesale item from Techie, and it's really cool that Canadian Tire and Party City both decided to pick him up here in Canada. Because honestly, he's a really cool one. I like how he has that head bobbing animation. It's awesome. I like, too, how he sort of has the Bluetooth capability. You can hook up any silencers, which is awesome. Yeah, the guitar here looks awesome, too. It would have been nice to see more detail on the clone, but for what he is, not too bad. And yeah, for this guy, too, one thing to note is they did change the eye color, which is interesting, from blue to red. I don't know why they decided to do that. That's like the only difference between this guy and the Lowe's version, but overall, he's a cool one, so let's check him out in animation, where, of course, we'll hear his default song, which is I Love Halloween.
I love Halloween. Put another tree to the tree bag, baby. I love Halloween. Come on, it's your time to dance with me. Ow! You better fear, little Reaper. I saw you standing there in the graveyard scene. Think it must have dancing around Halloween. And I knew you'd soon be mine until the end of time. I could tell it wouldn't be long till you were with me, yeah, me, singing, I love Halloween. Put another treat in the treat bag, baby. I love Halloween. Come on, it's your time to dance with me.
So overall, an awesome one, and yeah, definitely one I'd recommend if you have like some sort of band theme you're doing. He is a perfect one for that. And now carrying on, we got two more. We got Mr. Dark and a Lowe's Reaper right here. And of course, let's leave the best for last, Mr. Dark, and start off with the Reaper right here. Which this guy, of course, comes from Lowe's from 2017, and he's pretty much my worst animatronic, I would say. He's just a simple pack Reapers. One of my earlier on animatronics was before, like, I actually had money to buy some like cooler stuff. This guy I really only got because it was like a cheaper one, and I thought he was like a decent one at the time for getting like a big 6-foot Reaper and everything. And yeah, there's a few things that is a little bit bad with this guy. Of course, the lantern right here, it's like cracking a bit, and it's a little bit annoying how this like holds on right there. Then of course his like shoulder and turn animation is all broken now. That just doesn't work. At least his mouth still works, but that's that, I guess. And yeah, it's pretty simple, just how his build is. I do like how they have the feet down there, but then the clothing, you know, it's a simple creepy claws and everything. Just a simple animatronic, but I got him for only like $100, which honestly not too bad for how this guy is and how at least somewhat he is still in working condition. So overall, nice one, and yeah, let's of course check out his animation. And moving on, like I mentioned, saving the best for last, or at least what a lot of you think is the best. Honestly, it's out of my whole collection. You know, I do like Mr. Dark, but I just like how some of these other characters look. They're just a lot cooler. But Mr. Dark right here, he's still an awesome one, and cool to check out last year to end off the video. Which, yeah, he's an awesome one. You can see he's in his up position. Of course, at the top right there, he's around 9 feet tall, so a massive one. Of course, the face up there looks really creepy. I like all those teeth. The hands coming out looks cool. And then, yeah, his clothing is just black, which does suck. I like some of the newer versions of him, which have, like, all different detail on it. Like, Sinister Straw Man, he's a great detailed one, but yeah, this guy, he could use more, but for what he is, he still does look decent. Parts of animation, he starts off around, like, 4 feet tall, so probably around there in a second, but then he jumps up all the way up there, so really awesome, and yeah, just such a cool animatronic. I love this guy. And yeah, it's cool that they keep reusing the animation. Honestly, like, I don't care too much for them reusing it, because I'm never going to get another animatronic like this, but it's still cool to see what they come up with each year for the new version of the Mr. Dark animatronic. So overall, he's a cool one, and let's of course move on to the demo of him, which of course I'm going to have to set up on a tripod because I don't have weights currently for him, so I'm going to have to stand on the base to activate him, but yeah, let's of course activate him to see just how he is because he is awesome.
The Reaper comes in dark of night.
And with that there, that of course finishes the final little collection right here of the video. This is of course all of the graveyard type animatronics, which a bunch of cool ones here, and yeah, honestly, some great ones. I love the Raven, and then some of these like Dean the Deathologist, Jack Spades, so overall some cool ones. And anyways, with all of that said, that finishes it for today's animatronic collection tour. 37 in total, which you will be thinking, but wait, that was 36 different animatronics, which I do want to give a quick shout out to the 12-foot mummy, which is the one animatronic that I did not set up in here today because, of course, he's just too big for the garage right here. Of course, the top right there, it's only at 11 foot, and the 12-foot mummy, he is, of course, 12 foot, so he doesn't fit in here. So we'll mention him. I'll put a photo of him up on screen, but you'll, of course, see him later in the season in some of my haunt builds once I actually start setting up the yard. But anyways, so many cool ones. Hopefully you enjoy checking all of them out and hearing a bit about each one. So yeah, anyways, that's it. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.